Today, what business needs most is creativity. So let's create new possibilities, from intelligent automation to security that hunts for threats in the wild. Let's create something that changes everything. IBM. Let's create. Learn more at IBM.com.
I want to meet Allison one day, to be honest. I really, really do. All right, who else? Toe Tag, Pinzer Flactum, looking gorgeous tonight. Rocket 9, good to see you. And John Brown, welcome to SOR Chat. Latro, good to have you back. Witchy, what's going on, man? How you doing? All right, who else is here? Far Flung, nice to see you. And who else is joining us? Kronos, good to see you. Double Tim, always a pleasure. Typical Watch, nice to have you back, buddy. And Vash the Impaler has returned. And who else is here? Because we are running out of time. The gorgeous Cryptid Huntress. There she is. Fantastic name. One of the best names on YouTube ever. Ever, right there. The Zeta Reticuli Connection. Paul Hamden, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you back. And who else is here? The stunning Samantha Hazelwood Gray has returned. And who else is joining us here? Nicola, always a pleasure to have you here, my friend. Feisty Kitty, welcome to our channel. We are running out of time. Aussie Rob, how's them ham hocks? Diesel Girl, looking gorgeous tonight. Mr. Lurks a lot, good to see you. This is my story. No, this is my story. Good to have you here from Washington State. We are running out of time. Gorgeous Rose Demaray, the stunning Candy Romero from Vegas. And let's see, do we have time for one more? Let us see. Flash forward, you're the last one. Horns up, people. Time to rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire, checking out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We have one heck of a show for you tonight. What's it like to have ET contact? I know, some of you know, but most of you don't. Sev Tok is going to be here momentarily to talk about life with extraterrestrials. And in hour number 3, the Swamp Dweller has another great story from the swamp. Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio joins us for the Cryptid Report. Shirky Poo's got the news, and we got the thought of the Dave as well. Let's get right to it. Sev Tok is a speaker, author, spiritual counselor, and a lifelong experiencer. Originally from Istanbul, Turkey, she emigrated as a little child to the United States, and she ended up earning her bachelor's degree in biology from Loyola University. Her ET contact started at age 10. She kept it secret until 2017 when the Greys burned red X marks into her back. This ET contact helped her come out, so to speak, as a speaker at AlienCon in 2018. Through her book, You Have the Right to Talk to Aliens, endorsed by renowned UFO researcher Kathleen Martin, who we love around here. She is now a MUFON field investigator for North Carolina and a member of MUFON's Experiencer Resource Team, yet she helps experiencers around the world. This lady, honestly, I have wanted to interview her for 3 years. 3 years. I cannot believe it is time for Sev Tok to finally be on Spaced Out Radio. And not only do we get to interview her here, but I actually get to meet Sev on July 8th to 10th for the MUFON Symposium in Colorado. And she'll be the MC. I'll be one of the speakers. And Sev, this is a great year for me. Thank you so much for being on Spaced Out Radio. How are you?
Hi, Dave. Hello, everybody. I am so happy to be here.
It is great to have you here as well. Now, we're going to get in the next couple of hours really into a lot of experiences, and later on we're going to talk about your work with MUFON in regards to experiencers as well. I mean, this is a highly charged topic over the last couple of years that I strongly believe has been pushed to the side of ufology over what's happened with the To the Stars Academy and everything that's happened with the government that's going on now and the confirmation versus disclosure. And I really do believe experiencers have been kind of kicked to the side a little bit, but we could get into that later. For you, I want our audience to get to know you. You are a lifelong experiencer here. I mean, tell me about your first memory of having extraterrestrial contact.
My first conscious memory is from the age of 10, and it continued for a couple of years until I was 12. And it was the same being that visited me for a couple of years. I would find myself outside at night, and I would be waiting for the spaceship to come. And each time it came from a different direction, and it would come and it would hover over me, and I would be so happy to see it. Because it felt like I was seeing a relative, a brother, a best friend. And I was really excited every time I saw the spaceship. And it would come out, he would descend down these stairs, and he looked mostly human. He had dark hair, and he was young, in his 20s or 30s. He had on a dark top and dark pants. And his ears were slightly different because they were a little bigger and they were a little more almond-shaped. And he would just be checking up on me. And then there were so many of those visits that I lost count. And then after the visit, I would just find myself back in my bedroom, having to get ready for elementary school. And I didn't tell anybody, although I could have told my parents because they were very accepting and very open-minded and they were believers, but I still didn't tell anybody. And then when I was around 12, he came again, but this time it was a little different because this time there were other kids with me, and before there were never other kids. And I didn't look into their faces. We were all lined up, and we were all about the same height, and we were watching the spaceship go away, and there was just this sadness. And I knew, oh, there he goes, and I don't know when I'm going to see him again. And then I had this knowing of, okay, do what you have to do what you came to do, get to work. And then I would find myself in my bedroom getting ready for elementary school. And at the time, do your work didn't make any sense to me. That's now starting to make sense. And I'm also hoping to meet up with some of those other kids.
Wow. What is it like seeing other kids all around you when you're going through this same experience? I mean, that had to be frightening, exciting, scary, all at the same time.
It was shocking because I had never seen other kids, and I never really thought about other kids having this experience. So it was shocking that I'm not the only one, but at the same time, it was reinforcing and supporting that there are others.
So for you, you got a crash course in all of this. Why did you decide at such a young age not to tell your mom and dad? Because for many of us as parents, we tell our kids, look, when something bad happens or something you don't know happens, you come to mommy and daddy and we'll help you with everything.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know if I know the whole reason. Some of it is because I started meditating in 5th grade, and I've been having these kind of experiences with otherworldly beings for a long time. And I think because I was so actively engaged in connecting with other beings too and exploring my psi abilities, that I just got to the point where I didn't tell my parents everything. I didn't tell them every experience I had because there were a lot of them.
Really?
Maybe that's why.
So,
Although this is a big one. This is a big one.
No kidding.
But
okay, so you're a child going through this, and you finally talk to your parents, and then at 17, something happens. You get marks on your back in X's that you see. What happened there?
that was in 2017.
Oh, 2017.
That was just a few years ago. Yeah, because I just came out in 2018. So I'm pretty newly coming out. So I've been having contact my whole life, but the contact that I made in 2017 September here on the inner banks of North Carolina, I had just moved here 2 days prior. And on that second night, I came in contact with the gray that put a red X on my tush. I have a picture here. This red X. Yeah. And so, yeah, it was on my left cheek. And what happened was I was in the kitchen unpacking. I was with my ex-boyfriend then at the time, Patrick. And I was unpacking dishes, and it felt like something bit my butt and it hurt. So I yelled over, Patrick, will you please look at my butt? I think something bit it and it hurts. So he goes, yeah. So I walk over to the living room. I bend over and there's just silence. And he's not saying anything. I'm getting very nervous. And I'm like, well, and he goes, yeah, there's something, and there's also a red X. And I said, take a picture. And when I saw this picture, I knew right away it was the Greys, because I had been in communication with the Greys before. But back then, Dave, I thought the Greys were evil. I thought they were bad. I thought they were using me and playing with me and toying with me. I don't have that same opinion anymore. But back then, that's what I thought. And he was perplexed. I was scared and angry and perplexed. And I just said, we're going to ignore this. We're going to pretend like we never saw this X, and we're just going to file it away, just like all the other weird marks on my body my whole entire life. Just file everything away. But then 9 days later, I came to in my bedroom, and I had this download of a memory where I was on this hospital bed, and I was lying on my side, and I couldn't move my arms and I couldn't move my legs, and I felt paralyzed. And I was in this room. I didn't know where I was. It was dimly lit. It hardly had any furniture. And I felt something behind me. So I turned around. I could move my head, and standing right here was a Gray doing something to my back. And drew a picture of him. And he was just inches from me. And so we locked eyes. And I describe in my book, it's like looking into two pools of black oil. And there was no emotion, no feeling. It was just completely neutral. And in the past, when I had experiences with the Greys, there was always telepathic communication. But this time there was nothing. And that freaked me out even more. Just being neutral just really scared me. So I turned my head back around. I was scared to death. And then I find myself in my bedroom, and there was something else I knew. When I was on that bed, I knew I was on the moon. So I go downstairs. I wake up for my ex. I wait for my ex to wake up. He always gets up before I do, but this time I got up first. And I'm very, very afraid, because I'm going to ask him, to check me out again to see if I have another X. And I thought, if I have another X, I'm not going to be able to handle it. Like, this will be too much for me. I better not have another X, because I don't know how I'm going to be. So he comes downstairs. I tell him everything. I bend over. He checks. And there's another X, just like the first one. But this time it's on my right cheek, directly across. So I have X on my left cheek, X on my right cheek. And I have the picture of both of them in my book. And so I went for a head spin, a tail spin. It's really hard to describe what it feels like, when your rug of reality is just pulled out from underneath your feet. Because at that moment, decades of hiding it came out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't hide it anymore. Not only that, but what are they doing to me? And why are they so mean? And why are they after me? And who am I? And who are we? And what am I doing at night when I go to sleep? I'm talking with aliens. And I was just so confused. It just didn't feel like it was fitting into my life right. Yeah, so it was an existential crisis. And I tried to pull myself together, and I said I needed help. And that was the first time in my life I ever reached out for help concerning this. And I didn't know who was going to help me. But it turned out, organically, that it's Kathleen Martin from MUFON who helped me a lot.
Well, it couldn't have been one of the better ones than Kathleen, because there are very few, if any. You know, I want to ask you something regarding your one experience where you said you felt like you were on the moon. What made you feel like you were there?
It's a knowing. It was just a knowing. That's all I can say.
Right. And that makes sense. As an experiencer, that makes sense. Just to let you know, like with me, a couple of summers ago, I went to bed. I did not have a shirt on. And my partner, when we woke up in the morning and, you go to the bathroom, I start to brush my teeth and I don't have a shirt on. I know, ugly thing to think about for anybody out there. But she says to me, what are those scratches on your back? And I had 2 scratches about 4 inches long, about an inch in between. And they were stutter scratches, much like a cat would stutter scratch. And I said, I have no idea. She goes, did you get attacked by the cats? I'm like, I don't really know, right? I said, don't remember. Long story short, I go to the bathroom. I said, we got to get a picture of this. But I go to the bathroom, and then she walks into the kitchen and is like, hey, I'm making dinner for our kid, and we'll kind of go from there. And I'm like, okay. And didn't even think about it. 4 hours later, I realized that I forgot to take the photo of the scratches. Went back to the bathroom, took my shirt back off, leaned my phone in, and I'm like, okay, where are they? They were gone.
Yeah.
They were gone. Yeah. No, there was no scarring, no nothing. They completely vanished. And I called her in, and I'm like, look at my back. And she was like, why would I look at your back? What's with your back? I'm like, the scratches from earlier, they're like gone. And she was like, oh my God, that is so weird. Because she forgot about it too. It was just, I still to this day do not understand that one. Well,
that reminds me of something that I did today. I made a new video for my YouTube channel, Alien Spirit TV, because I made a video about the top 10 signs of ET contact. And the second one was odd bodily marks. And so they can be anything from geometric shapes to scratches to burn marks to skin missing, little scoop marks. Because I've had just about all of that, and I would just laugh it away. There would be like a triangle, 3 dots on my ankle, perfect. And I would say, "Oh, isn't that funny how that bug bit me in the shape of a triangle?" Ha ha ha! I just bruises like all over my thighs. Not normal, not natural. I'd be like, oh, it's just like, whatever, worry about it later. And then finally, that worried about it later kept filing up. And then September 2017 was the time that I decided to worry about it. It was the biggest hurdle in my life, really. I've been on this path of authenticity. And in order to continue on my path of authenticity, I had to face this hurdle. And it was deep. It was deep.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the purpose of the marks, or why they're doing it. I once actually, a good friend of mine, Eric Cooper from Washington State, ran a group called Forest Moon Paranormal for a long time. He had this ET test to see if you were an ET contactee or abductee. It was a list of 50 questions. And if you answered 28 with them yes, you were considered an abductee. I scored 43. That's what kind of.
So does that mean you are or you're not? You are?
I am very much so, yes.
Okay. I believe that you are.
Oh, yeah, you could tell. You could tell. All of us experiencers could tell. Don't you love it? Now, this is being serious here for a second. Don't you love it, Sev, when you're looking at someone and they're very naive to the subject, like you meet them at a conference or something, and you're like, ma'am, you've got aliens. You've got serious aliens. I have never had that experience. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. And then you sit down and talk with them, and then there's always that, well, there was this one time. But don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I never mention this.
Yeah, but I love those moments. Those moments are precious.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But back to your story here, as we got about 4 minutes before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Sev Tok is our guest tonight. When you came out as an ET contactee publicly in 2018, why did you feel it necessary to take this very private part of your life to the public?
Yeah, that's a really good question because not all experiencers want to. And I help experiencers around the world through MUFON and also individually. If you've made ET contact, I would love to hear from you. You just have to go to my website, planetsev.com, and go to ET Encounters, tell me your ET story, and I'll respond to you. And one of the characteristics of an experiencer is the need to talk about it. It's irrational almost. I don't know. I can't not. Like the thought of not talking about it, it makes me sad and makes me feel like I can't breathe. I just have to. That's it.
Was there a point in your life where maybe
Blanchard Gold has been in the precious metals and rare coins industry for over 45 years. When you purchase from Blanchard Gold, we'll store your precious metals or send securely in discreet packaging. Buy today and receive free shipping on orders over $300. Trusted by 500,000 customers since 1975, Blanchard Gold has a Better Business Bureau rating of A+. BlanchardGold.com.
Extraterrestrials told you that it was time to come out and talk about this?
Yes. I do believe that our higher selves call the shots and that my higher self had decided that this is something that I wanted to face in this lifetime and help others face too. So I had been ignoring the signs for decades, so I needed something serious to get my attention. And so I needed 2 red X marks on my tush to get my attention. Not everybody needs something that drastic, but that's what it took to get my attention.
Oh, I can understand that. How has the reaction been from your family and friends since you decided to become public with this? Have you, I know for me, I lost a number of friends, but I gained a number as well.
Yes. Well, I have learned not to focus on what anybody else thinks of what I'm doing or the book, especially when it comes to family and friends, especially when it comes to family. I just have to disassociate from that, meaning if they don't want to read it, fine. If they don't want to talk to me about it, fine. I only have my sister hasn't read my book. My mom's read my book. My father passed away a few years ago. And as far as I know, my mom is the only person in my family who's read my book. And that's okay. I didn't do it to get everyone's approval. I did it, actually, I was really frightened when I was writing that book. I was really worried about all the horrible things that could happen to me once the book came out. And all the things I was worried about, none of them happened. Actually, coming out was the best thing that's ever happened to me. And so far, so good. People are very responsive. People are very kind, very supportive. Once in a blue moon, I might get some kind of sarcastic remark on social media, but it's nothing serious and it's not a lot.
No, I can understand that. Are your sisters experiencers as well? Or is this a family
I have
trait?
a sister, and she is, but she doesn't like to talk about it. And I really didn't know she was until a few years ago. She hit it, but I did know that my sister is psychic and intuitive, as my parents are.
Wow.
So that does run in our family, and I do know that my parents. They meditated. They taught me how to meditate in 5th grade.
Nice.
And that they were connecting with other beings. I knew all that. But growing up, we never talked about any of us incommunicado with an alien.
Right.
We believed in them, but we didn't talk. Yes.
Sev, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Sev Tok of MUFON is our guest. Her ET experiences when we return on Spaced Out Radio. All right. The radio side is on break, and our YouTube side can hear everything. Allison Yellowknee with the comment of the night so far, claiming about being single,
about the dating?
being single and trying to find a date. How do you explain it to him? Michael, darling, how are you? Good to see you. And then, well, that's kind of cool. We do not take questions until the second hour, as many of you know, but some of the new people tuning on in. And, hey, I don't know if you guys caught it earlier, but Lynn Wallington had a great show earlier today. And don't forget, Sev Tok will be a part of the Women in Ufology this Saturday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 4 p.m. Eastern. Like 6 hours. Is it? Maybe it's 11 a.m. Pacific. I don't know. I got to check. Lynn, where are you? I'll find it. But, all day Saturday, 6 hours of UFO talk with some of the brightest and brilliant minds of ufology. It's going to be great. I'm so excited for it, and so excited for Lynn. And, it's going to be a great time this Saturday. Check it on out. Lovely Tina Hopkins, how are you? Oh, what kind of tea are we drinking?
I'm drinking coffee.
Oh, well, you're a coffee. I'm going to have a little sip.
It's going on 1 a.m. here, Mr. Scott.
Hey, it's going on 9:30 here.
I'm usually asleep by 10 o'clock.
Yes, but we are worth it. We are worth it.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I'm
no
not
idea.
sleepy now.
I'm so excited that you're here, though. I really am.
I'm
like geeking out. I'm like geeking out a little bit.
I'm so sweet.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. You're a celebrity.
You know what?
And you've got this edge.
You know what?
You have this.
Can I tell you a true story?
Yes.
When you started on your Facebook page of posting all of the guests from the MUFON Symposium 2022,
Yes.
I hadn't seen mine come out yet, and I had checked the website, and I hadn't seen mine. And I was getting really nervous. I'm like, Sev probably doesn't know who I am. She's never going to post mine. And, she's going to post everybody else. And here I got to meet her, and she's not going to post mine. And it was like this went on for weeks. I had this anxiety attack about this. And I'm like, Sev doesn't even know who I am. What am I going to do here? Is she going to post mine? She's the MC. She's not going to know anything about me. Like, what's going on here? We got to get her on the show. And then all of a sudden, bang. You posted mine.
At the same time.
And
I posted you, and then I think you asked me to be on the show. I think it happened at the same time. It was so interesting.
Yeah. So I literally was able to breathe again. Literally able to breathe. Thank you, lovely Allison Yellowknee, for that amazing super chat. Allison, I do need to talk to you because number one, I do want to get you on the air again, but there's another reason why I want to talk to you, Allison, because my buddy Merle and I have started this YouTube channel called Canada's Great Unknown. And, excuse me, it is all Canadian weird stories, Allison, and I want to put your stories in there. So you and I need to talk about that. I'm going to put the link in the chat room right now so you guys can all, if you haven't subscribed to it yet, you could do so. I'll type it out here. Canada's Great Unknown. And here's the link. And I would love to get Allison's stories on here. I gave Allison her first ever interview.
What's Allison's stories?
Oh, my goodness. Lifelong with ET contact. Her entire family. She is also, what's really, really intriguing about it, she is also Indigenous. And her entire family, like this goes down generation to generation. And, you know, it's a trippy Close Encounters of the Third Kind type of story. I mean, it just absolutely, it's one of the stories that has always affected me in what I do. And
well, then I need to know about her stories, especially since she is Indigenous. That makes it even more marvelous, really.
Oh yeah, she and she's an incredible speaker. I can't speak highly enough. 1 second here. Thank you to Chris, Dry Toast, Wreaking Havoc, Ben, and Allison for the amazing super chats. The super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on a nightly basis. Here we go with the second half hour. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Appreciate each and every one of you tuning us on in. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, you can do us a favor. Check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, as well as TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with Sev Tok. She is part of MUFON. She's an experiencer. She's a researcher. Her website, planetsev.com, if you want to check it on out. Sev, welcome back to the show.
Hello.
All right, I want to get into your ET experiences. You know, you mentioned a little bit about these X's that the Greys were putting on. Now, I have had positive and negative aspects with the Greys. You are leaning more towards being positive. What made you curb that thinking that the Greys really weren't the brutal dudes that many of us think they are?
There was a shift in my perspective. And so everything is relative to our perspective and to the personal filters that we wear. And so for most of my life, I had the perspective of a victim. And I had the lens of victimization. I thought I was a victim in every situation. So of course I was going to think I was the victim in the ET situation. And it's not until I started the internal work on this quest of being the most authentic version of myself I could possibly be, because I believe that's how one finds fulfillment and peace and happiness. That path of authenticity is what brought me to facing my entire ET experience. I couldn't deny it anymore. Denying it meant denying a part of real me. And I was not going to be a happy person continuing to deny a really important part of myself. So in that search, I realized, wow, I was a fantastic victim. And when I started to transform those thoughts and realize that I am not the victim, I am in control and I am in charge, then my lens changed. My perspective changed. And then I realized that the Greys have been helping me the whole time, have been supporting me and aiding me. And I'm very grateful for their help.
Now, for many people, we look at them as very soulless type of, almost like AI robotic beings. Yet you're kind of describing that they almost do have a heart and soul. I think what we need to decipher here a little bit, is there a difference in grays? We've heard there could be many species of gray aliens. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yes. Well, I have personally encountered 3 different sizes of grays: tall, medium, and short. When I was living in Baltimore, Maryland, this was around 2012, and I was shown a baby in a tube. And I have a picture of it. And when I was shown this baby in this tube, and its eyes were open and eyes were open and had the bluest eyes I've ever seen in my life. Well, standing behind me over here were tall, medium, and short grays. And when I turned around, they said to me telepathically, take your time. We're just going to wait for you. Take all the time that you need. And I turned back and I looked at this baby, and I really did not understand why I was looking at a baby in a tube. I felt nothing for it. And then I didn't say anything for years until Roswell, when I had an encounter with the Greys, and they reminded me about that. And they talked to me about the hybridization program. Another experience that I have with the different types of grays is a MyLab experience. And I just recently started talking about my MyLab experiences because they're a little uncomfortable. Some of them are not good. Some of them are okay. And in one of these experiences, I've been in this office before. It's an office that feels like it's under the ground. It's like a government type office, just very boring and bland. And there's always these young men in their 20s or 30s, and they all look almost alike. And they're always there. And I'm in this room, and there's an office across from me, and separating my office from that office is a window, a half-wall window. And there's that man standing next to me, as he usually does in these situations, and they bring a gray in to the office across from me, and he's tall. And this man says to me, "That's the original gray." And then they take that one out, bring in another one that's smaller, and he says to me, "That's the hybrid of the original gray." They take that one out, and then they bring in the shortest one, and he says to me, "That's the hybrid of the original." And with each one, I understood that the consciousness or the sentience of each one drops. So the tall one is very conscious and sentient, and the smaller one is more robotic, and that is the one that does the gathering of specimens and does the testing.
So was your MyLab experience something of an quizzical type, or was it something that was very dark, like many people have explained?
Some of it was dark, and some of it was them trying to get information from me. Some of it was them giving me information. One time I was healing very, very sick hybrid babies, very, very sick. They were coughing up blood, and they had the head of a human, but they had the body of skinny, skinny, skinny aliens. And this is an interesting hybridization program because it involved humans, because I was with a human doctor and a human nurse, and they wanted me to put my hands on these babies to heal them. So I'm wondering how many different hybridization programs are there. So the Greys talked to me when I was in Roswell about the hybridization program they have with humans. Maybe humans also have a different hybridization program, because the babies, the hybrids that were associated with these humans were very, very sickly. The hybrids that I saw associated with the Greys were very, very healthy. So I'm just throwing out ideas. I don't know. But it just seems to me that I could feel the difference between the two types of hybridization programs.
I see. I see. Now, for you, have all of your experiences been more of the positive level rather than the negative sinking feelings that many people have, where they have zero control of what happens to them, their bodies, and their minds?
The only time I had a very negative experience was when I came face to face with an astral men in black. And that happened in December 2020, actually. It was associated with a girlfriend of mine who came to visit me. And it was her first night there. And she went into the guest room. And then in the middle of the night, I woke up because she came into my bed. And I said, "What's the matter?" And she said, "I'm afraid." And then I felt something behind me. So I turned around, and just 2 feet from my bed was this tall black shadow. It was blacker than the blackness of my bedroom. Tall, and it had that hat. And it's just looking at me. And it was very scary. And I literally felt energy coming out of it and coming inside of me, like inside of my chest, and like tentacles, and just trying to pull me out, like just trying to pull my essence out. And I fought with it because I knew I can fight with it. A lot of people don't realize that they are in control. And so it was an energetic battle because it didn't want to go. And it was scary. And it took a while, and it left, and I was exhausted, and I went back to sleep. I got up in the morning. My girlfriend was not in the bed, but she had an interesting experience happen to her that night too. So that is a being of a very low vibration. And it was associated with my girlfriend because at that time, my girlfriend started to become very interested in Pizzagate and Hillary being arrested tomorrow, and they eat babies and all that kind of stuff. And she just kind of like fell into that hole. And that's a very negative, low vibe.
Yes.
And so she was attracting that. And so, we have our posse with us. We have these interdimensional posses, and they go everywhere we go. And so here was a low vibratory being just poking at me to see if it had a chance, and it did not have a chance. So that's something I'd like everyone to know is you are in control. It could have easily taken over me because I had to fight.
I want to ask you, and I've never asked this question before of experiencers.
Oh.
Do you have ET bodyguards on the other side?
I think I do. I think I do.
Have you connected with them?
I think I have my whole life. And I think there are various different types because I've come in contact with a variety of different beings. And I think they've, not all of them, not this astral men in black, but the grays that I've come in contact with, the blue beings I've come in contact with, and the trio, the white, the dog, and the blue that I've come in contact with were all pretty positive.
The reason why I ask is I have seen mine.
And
I don't talk about it, but I have shown people. And
does this name start with a C?
No, I don't know their names.
Because you gave me the name. You gave me a name.
Oh, no, it's not Carl. It's not Carl.
Oh.
No, it's not Carl. But I think for a lot of experiencers, when we get into that mode, there is almost like a brotherhood or a sisterhood with some of these, I'm going to call them tribes of aliens and different branding of extraterrestrials that really take to you. Maybe your spirit is from where they recognize, or maybe they've taken you so much that they almost think of you as one of their own or something, and they guard you against a lot of the negativity that comes through. So that's why I was wondering if you've had that as well.
No one's ever asked me that question, and I like that question because I do feel like I do have guards. Yeah. And I'm glad that you even brought it up. And thank you for admitting it. And thank you for talking about it.
Well, my guys, I will say this. They are very tall. They are black cloaked. And that's all I'll give on them right now. And I know when I've had astral travelers here or any type of remote viewers here that I get warned.
You get warned?
Yeah.
Huh. Is it a mental warning?
Yes. Sometimes I feel it. Sometimes I feel it with, almost like an anxiety. But I'm pretty sure. Like, can you pick up remote viewers? Like, if you're being remote viewed, or you have astral travelers from you, can you pick them up? Do you know when they're there, when they're looking at you?
There's been a couple times, yes. Where I actually see a flash of light, or I hear a commotion. I just hear something, and then I'm told afterwards that someone that I gave permission to come and do astral travel had arrived at that moment.
It's very fun, isn't it?
Excuse me?
It's very fun, isn't it, when somebody or something is, remote viewing in, and you're able to pick up on that energy, and you're like, hey, how you doing?
Yes, it's very cool. I love it. I like that you do that too.
Well, I got all sorts of tricks in the trade.
You sure do.
I just don't talk about them a lot because the show isn't about me.
Well, let's make it about you because I'd like to hear more.
No. People are here for your stories. Your stories, not mine. Right?
An interesting story is an interesting story, and you have lots of them.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I'd never really brought up the bodyguards, so to speak, before. I don't know why I brought that up, but needed to come up, I guess.
Yes. Well, maybe it'll make some of your listeners realize that they have bodyguards too, so they can maybe feel safer. Sometimes we just don't realize how protected we are, and we just really worry, really for no reason.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Regarding, there is so much more to this. How many times when you have been taken have you seen other people on craft?
I have not. Other than those kids, I have not seen anyone else. Now, I realize I have memories that I don't remember. And so I'm still waiting for things to unveil themselves to me. I do believe that just like people and things, thoughts, memories, experiences have energy. And when we are aligned with the energy of that information, then we know it. And that's what we call an aha moment. It's always been inside of us, but we've never been aligned. Personally, our personal energy wasn't aligned with the energy of that information, so we didn't know it. And then you know it. It's like, oh my gosh, I've had an epiphany. And so I do believe that about memories too. I think as we acclimate ourselves to understand and process information, we get it. Until we are ready to process it, until our energy is aligned with the information of that energy, of that information, that we don't get it.
Right. Who does get it, though? I mean, you're a part of MUFON. You've heard a lot of stories. You've researched a lot of stories. Is there anyone really getting what the experience is all about and getting to what all of this is all about?
Well, many of us believe that this is happening for our benefit, spiritual blossoming. Because many experiences are being taught beautiful lessons in the importance of following one's heart, the importance of love, binding all of us together that's going to get all of us through this. And these are very powerful messages. They're very empowering. And our government really doesn't want individuals to be empowered. So the information we're getting is very empowering from these ETs. We're being taught how to be autonomous yet together at the same time. We're being taught how to think for ourselves, and we're being taught to not stand up for injustice or what doesn't serve us anymore. Government doesn't like this. So experiencers are being given a lot of information. Besides spiritual information, we're giving technical information, we're giving information about the future. And so the government is interested in all this. And I do believe the government knows who the experiencers are, and they debrief us.
Earlier today, a couple of hours ago, as a matter of fact, Ben and Joe from UFO Garage had Luis Elizondo on their show, and a question was posed to Luis from the audience by a guy named John, who's a good guy. He's usually in our chat room too, about missing people. And he believes that there are people going missing under extremely mysterious circumstances that needs to be investigated. Outside of the work, the incredible work that people like David Paulides and the Missing 411 are doing. I mean, Elizondo did not go on to say that it was extraterrestrial, but he said he did believe that a lot of these cases of people just vanishing, and he brought up examples not only in America but over in Europe as well where this is happening, that we need to spend some time on this. I mean, is this something that with MUFON that you see that needs to be addressed and quickly? Because if these people are vanishing, maybe off planet, I mean, do we not have a right to know if this is happening?
Yes, we have a right to know. How are we going to know? Like if someone vanishes off planet, how is they're going to be able to tell MUFON that they've vanished? It's a really kind of difficult data to get. As far as people vanishing, it could be non-ET related too. It could just simply be going through portals. We know that there are all kinds of portals all over this planet. Ancient civilizations knew where those portals were, and they were using them. And it could very well be that now modern day humans might know where the portals are, and maybe they're just stumbling in them. And they can travel back and forth through the dimensions. So I think that's a reason for missing people as well, not just going on a spaceship and going away.
And I agree with you. I think a lot of it is some sort of portal that people are walking into, and they have no clue. Just when they exit the other side, everything is the same, except on our plane, they're gone. They're gone.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Right. And then they could be re-entering in a different reality or in a different version of Earth, thinking they came back here, but they're not. They're in a different version of Earth. There's
a story that David Paulides has, and I've shared this with my fans a number of times. It was in his Missing 411 Canada book that came out in 2019. And this one still amazes me because these three girls were riding horseback, and they came to a fork in the road. The one wanted to go take the fork in the road because she felt it was a quicker trail back to the barn. The other two didn't know that trail and wanted to go the other way. And so when the other two girls arrived back at the barn, this girl never arrived. But more importantly, her horse wasn't there either. Both her and her horse were gone. Oh. And that's what, you know what? I've looked at that one many a times now. And it baffles me, Sev, because I don't think it's extraterrestrial. I think it is the whole portal factor. Because, look, if it's a human isn't going to waste the time, the valuable time. If you're going to kidnap a person, they're not going to waste the valuable time of taking the horse. The horse would have been found. The horse wouldn't have vanished just like the little girl did. And to me, that comes down to two points. It's either extraterrestrial or there's a portal. My feeling is portal. And I think that it's a huge, huge play into something that people discuss, but we don't get deep enough into.
Yeah, because we're not ready. society, we're not ready to discuss portals right now. That's just way too much. There's portals that people are walking into and disappearing. That's a lot. I mean, we can't even wrap our minds around other civilizations and other dimensions and other planets, let alone these portals that people can just disappear. I think with time that will all come. And then we'll be able to understand the ancient civilizations better because we will be experiencing and knowing portals ourselves.
Very true. Sev, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to take a break here at the top of the hour. Sev Tok from planetsev.com. She is part of MUFON. Mm-hmm. She's a researcher. She's an experiencer. We're going to get into a lot of the work and cases she works on with MUFON when we come back. And dealing with the emergency response team. Oh, I love it. I love this interview. I love this lady. And we are going to be back here on Spaced Out Radio with Hour 2. More ET reaction from Sev. We'll take your questions as well. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, we have about 6 minutes here. I'm going to run to the bathroom, and if you want to hang out with the audience, you're more than welcome to. I don't know if you could see their comments.
Can you respond to their comments or no?
No, you can respond verbally, just you can't type it in. You can see their comments on the right, though?
Can hear us right now?
Yeah,
they can hear us right now?
Yeah, they can hear us right now. So you can talk to them.
Right.
I'll be right back. Can you see the comments, though?
Yes, but I don't see any.
Okay, so
I have been seeing them, but I don't see any now.
Corner, you'll see where it says comments. There's a little box up in the right-hand corner where it says comments.
Up there. Okay, I was under private chat. Oh, my goodness.
There they are.
Wow.
You can chat with them. I'll be right back.
Everybody, thank you so much. Oh, my goodness. Wow, this is like opening a Christmas present. Look at all these remarks. Oh, I'm so grateful. Wow. I'm scrolling through everything. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Angels and Abe and Wham Bam Ham and Michael Darling, Simon Wales. All of you are saying such nice things. Grantavius, can you hear my rockin'? Well, I have a question for all of you who are listening. Are you an experiencer? Have you had ET contact? Are you in denial about it? If you have you come out to yourself? The most important thing is to come out to yourself. And if you want to come out to somebody, you can come out to me because I will respect your privacy and non-judgmental, and I offer help. So if you have had ET contact, I'd love to hear about it. Oh, thank you, Kira Angel. Mm-hmm. A lot of people usually do want to make contact. There are some people who don't want to, but most people usually do want to make contact because it really is the information that you get from contact really gives you a leg up on life, which is really nice. And I do help people make contact. I do help people connect with otherworldly beings and communicate with them. I have free videos on my YouTube channel if you're interested. I have guided meditations that can take you places so you can communicate with other beings. It's really something that I love to do, to help people travel through the dimensions. So I have seen Bigfoot. Oh, here we go. We have an experiencer. Angels are life. Ah, okay. Thank you. Yeah. So it seems like Angel's Our Life is processing her lifetime of contact pretty well. Well, okay. So John says he's unsure. Yeah, that happens. Tammy's children have had contact. Darth Fedora. That's what I feel like. It's funny. Who wrote Fedora? Yeah, that's funny. I'm enjoying the crowd.
Oh, yeah, they're good people there. They're good people. Hi, Larry A. Gorgeous Aussie Ange. Hello there, Toe Tag. Who else has joined us late here? Gary Rusin, how you doing, buddy? I know you're on Spreaker too. The lovely Tammy Jackson, welcome back. The fedora-wearing John Hudson, flash forward. The stunning Sonia's News is back. Wham Bam Ham, good to see you. Mitchell, darling, nice to have you here, buddy. Who else has joined us? Vin Man, how are you, man? Let's see here. Who else is here?
These are some interesting comments. I asked the crowd who's an experiencer, and there's quite a few.
Oh, yeah. Gorgeous Carla has returned as well. And, sorry, I'm just kind of going through here.
What is this FAP? I've had contact. It got me 9 kids.
That's FAP.
So
take his words with a grain of salt, because
okay.
He's listening to the show early tonight because he got turned down by all the ladies coming out of the bingo hall. So it's just it happens. It happens.
Well, thank you for being with us.
Yes,
FAP.
we love Fapster around here. We love them. Grandmaster Gong Show, welcome back. Gorgeous Pam Smith, thank you for joining us. And let's see here. Brazelhoff, good to see you. I want to say a big thank you to Chris, Dry Toast, Rican John, Ben from UFO Garage, and Allison for the super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on a nightly basis, so thank you so much. And we're going to continue on here with Hour 2 right now.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Yarborough. Yarborough is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire, checking out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio as well. We continue on tonight with Sev Tok. PlanetSev.com is her website. She's an author, researcher. She also works very closely hand-in-hand as an investigator for MUFON, as well as part of their emergency response team to people who have had contact. Sev, welcome back.
Hello, I'm happy to be back.
All right, let us get right into it because I do want to get to some audience questions here. They are piling up. joining MUFON, MUFON has always kind of had a little bit of a controversial type of history to it, yet you're relatively new to it, and there has been some shifting for the positive. Let's be blunt and honest here. Otherwise, I could tell you right now I would not be kind of saying that if it wasn't. But for you, why did you feel joining MUFON was a better way for you to kind of help and learn at the same time?
So the first connection I had with MUFON was when I found Kathleen Martin. When I was still confused about what had happened to me, I decided I was just going to organically allow the help to come. And one of my best friends who lives on the island of Kauai in Hawaii called me up one day and she said, "You have to see the movie Unacknowledged by Dr. Stephen Greer." And so I did, and that lit something inside of me. And as soon as that movie was over, I went to my computer and I told myself, I have to send a picture of this X to somebody, but I don't know who to send it to. And that's when I heard in my head MUFON, and that's when I Googled it, and that's when I saw Kathy on the website, and I emailed her. I'm like, she's the one. She's going to help me, and she did, and she contacted me a couple days later, and she Zoomed with me for an hour and a half, and it was life-changing. And so that stuck with me, how much MUFON helped me, how much Kathy helped me, and she's associated with MUFON. And then through Kathy and I have become friends, and through Kathy, I started meeting other MUFON.
Finding the right person for the job isn't easy. Just ask someone who hired their personal trainer as a caterer.
All right, folks, let's keep this line moving. You there with the tongs. Picking up one Duchess potato at a time will not cut it at my catering table. Drop and give me 50.
But if you've got an insurance question, you can always count on your local Geico agent. They can bundle your policies, which could save you hundreds.
Okay, this is what we call the wild mushroom and asparagus dip, and press. Come on, let's get those plates above your heads.
For expert help with all your insurance needs, visit geico.com/local today.
Members. And it had been suggested before that I become a field investigator, and I wasn't interested. And then one day I was talking to Terry Ling, who's on the board. And she's like, "Sev, why don't you become a field investigator?" And for some reason, at that moment, it felt right. And this was during 2020. And I'm like, it's 2020. What am I doing? I'm just like hanging out anyway. I might as well become a field investigator. So I did. It was the summer of 2020. And then from there, I was asked to become a member of the Experiencer Resource Team. There was about 55 of us around the world, and we get the cases in MUFON that have to deal with direct ET contact. So as a field investigator for North Carolina, I get cases. Most of them are about seeing lights in the sky, about seeing spaceships and orbs and things like that. But the cases with the ERT are direct ET contact.
Wow. Did anything that you have dealt with MUFON kind of shock you or set you back at the amount of cases or the kind of cases that you were dealing with?
That's such a good question. Yes. I was surprised by how many cases we get. I was also surprised by the amount of research that goes into a case. So when a field investigator gets a case, there's a lot of research that goes into it. First, we reach out to the witness if they want to be contacted in hopes of getting more information from them. But we have to do an investigation. So the witness tells us when, where, what happened, what time, and then we have to go and we have to look into the weather that day. What was happening in the celestial skies that day, what satellites were going by, what unusual meteor showers there were, what airports are nearby, what military bases are nearby. I mean, it's hours and hours of work that goes into a case.
As you were dealing with cases, did you ever have a case that was very similar to your own personal experience that really kind of set you back, wondering if there was some sort of pattern evolving here?
There is a pattern evolving. Yes, there's a definite pattern evolving. The pattern being we're getting more reports of ET contact that's happening in the multi-dimensions rather in 3D.
Really?
And so, yeah, it's consciousness is the key word. So our mind is the playground of the consciousness. And so a lot of ET contact happens in those dimensions. A lot of people are having ET contact, but they don't realize it because they think it's a dream. Because often when you have these interdimensional experiences, they are kind of dreamy and they are kind of different. And the brain doesn't know what to call that, but they're absolutely real. You can't shake them. And so that is really the shift, more of this interdimensional experience rather than I was driving down the road and then I saw a light and then I'm missing 3 hours. That's happening less and less and less. Well, in terms of the cases that I'm getting, that's happening less and less and less.
All right, let's start with some audience questions here. Sovereign is wondering, which types of UFOs have you found to be malevolent?
Well, once again, this has to do with one's perspective and one's filter, because there are some famous UFO cases. I'm not going to mention who they are. And when they describe what happened to them and the things that were shown to them, for instance, there are many contactees who are shown pictures of the future, of a burnt earth, of a disaster, of people dying, of lots of beings dying. And these are very, very scary. And some people view these as scare tactics or ways of instilling fear. But you can also look at it another way, that this being is simply saying, look at what you're doing, and I'm here to wake you up. I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to go there. So that's two different ways of looking at the same experience. So that's why I talk a lot about what's your filter and how do you view the world? How do you view yourself? Because that's how you're going to perceive the experience that you're in.
All right, let's move on. Vin Man here, he's had a little bit of issues with MUFON. Regarding his own reports that he has filed. So he's wondering, how can you regain your privacy from MUFON? I submitted anonymously, and now it's all over the UFO stalker map.
Well, thank you, Vinran. I don't know what the UFO stalker map is.
Okay. Well, maybe that's for somebody higher up. Vin, I'll try and get you in touch with Tom Whitmore about that and get a conversation with you.
But I can talk about privacy in MUFON. I can talk about that.
Maybe mention that.
Okay, so he said he submitted anonymously, so then you remain anonymous. MUFON is a data bank. It is a research organization. And if you do not want your name to be out there, MUFON does promise you privacy. Now, there are a few eyes that are going to be looking at your report, because there are human beings that are going to be reading your report and then passing it along to the particular field investigator. So there are a couple of eyes that are going to look at it. But other than that, MUFON encourages you to share your stories, and they're not then going to turn around and then tell the world who you are and your name and all of that, because they don't want to do that. Now, as far as maybe your story getting out, is he saying his story is out?
No, the UFO stalker map is something that MUFON uses, and they will place this UFO stalker map, if I have it correctly, they will place UFOs over the area on a map of where people have seen. So even though the report is coming in anonymously, it's still showing his area to where it happened.
And because it's data. And so the information that you share becomes data. but it's not hooked with your name. Are we talking the same thing?
But when you live in a small town or city like he does, this is the issue that he has.
But if no one knows who he is, then what's the issue?
If you zoom in and it shows the street you live on, that is an issue.
Oh, so you're saying this UFO stalker map is by address?
It seems that way, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I did not know about this. I'm going to look into this.
Yes.
Thank you, Vivian. Yeah, no one wants to be outed. If you don't want to be outed, you shouldn't be outed. I mean, I agree with you.
Exactly. Let's go to Larry's question here. Do you do regression hypnosis?
I don't. I've thought about it, but I don't.
All right. Let's go back to Sovereign here. Does one really want to contact anything? Aren't there safeguards and evil aliens?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, evil is a term that we've come up with for a lower vibratory being that makes us uncomfortable. But like I had talked about earlier, it's really important to keep your vibe high because you're going to align with like vibrations. You do that here on Earth with your friends, so you're going to be doing that in the other dimensions as well. So yes, there are safeguards. Make sure that your vibe is high and make sure you know that you're in control. But when I'm meditating or when I'm traveling through the dimensions, I don't enter with fear because I have full faith and it's been proven to me that I'm in control and that I'm going to spend my time with like energies.
Got you. Understand. All right, let's move on to VPXM. Sev, I have a question for you. Why do a lot of people describe extraterrestrials as angels?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a good question. Well, once again, perspective. And so we're all going to try and explain what we're experiencing through our own personal experiences and perspective. And so if you have a religious perspective, then some of these beings seem like religious angels to you.
All right, let's move on to Grantavius. Do you know anything about the Lemurians? Your thoughts?
I know a little bit about the Lemurians, which were a very advanced civilization that lived on this earth. Of course, we don't know much about them. What I have learned is that they were a civilization that were highly advanced and were very consciously aware of giving Earth the necessary energy that she needs. That's really pretty much all I know.
All right, let's move on here to Nikki, who is asking, have you personally had any contact of the feline Lyrans or Laborians?
Yes, that's very interesting that you asked that. I do have an affinity for the Lyrans or Lyra. When it comes to these feline beings, they do resemble the beings in Egypt, the Hathor beings, that are also very cat-like. There could very well be some kind of connection there. I do not have a conscious memory of being in contact with a Lyran, although I do believe I have some kind of connection there. So thank you for asking the question. Maybe more will be revealed to me.
Nicola wants to know, the extraterrestrials that have been in contact with you, do you know where they are from?
Huh. Okay. Well, I know where they're from on Earth, but I do not know where they're from in outer space. For instance, what I mean is, for instance, when the blues came to talk to me, they actually came out of the water. And to me, it seemed like they were, because I live on the water, and they just came right out of the water. To me, it seemed like that's where they lived. As far as the Greys go, the Greys seem to me to just always be living on these ships. They really never really seem to have a particular place. There's a lot of theories as to where the Greys come from and where the blues come from and everything. But I could just talk about my own experiences.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Why not? That's kind of what we do. All right, let's get to Sovereign again. Are you pro-contact anything and everything? Do you take precautions or not against demonic aliens? And if so, what do you do?
Sure, yeah. I am pro-contact with loving beings. I am not pro-contact with lower vibratory beings at all. And so on my YouTube channel, Alien Spirit TV, I have videos about how to keep your vibration high, because I have videos teaching you how to connect. And it's very important that if I'm going to teach you how to connect with otherworldly beings, that I'm also teaching you how to protect yourself. And that comes from having a high vibration.
When you talk about high vibration, what do you mean by that?
Mm-hmm. Well, it has to do with your state of mind and the types of belief systems and thoughts that you have on a daily basis. It has to do with the belief about yourself, who you are, and how much love you show yourself. And it also has to do with the tangible things. For instance, what do you eat? What do you drink? What music do you listen to? How do you wake up in the morning? Do you wake up to a very loud alarm, which is not a good way to wake up? What fabrics or materials are you touching? Are you touching plastics, or are you touching glass and things like that? It all goes into creating your vibration. How healthy are you? What books are you reading? What TV shows are you watching? What movies do you watch? All of it.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's go to Pinzer here, who is asking, are these ET experiences pretty new to you personally? Starting in 2020, I wasn't clear on that. Also, do most field investigators at MUFON have their own contact or experiences?
Oh, that's very good. My first conscious memory of ET contact is from when I was 10. That was 1973. So I've been having contact since then. And I know field investigators who have never had ET contact, who have never even seen a UFO. They just have an interest and they want to be of service. They want to help.
All right, let's move on to another question as we continue on. We got 3 minutes to go here before the bottom of the hour break. Sev Tok is our guest tonight. Downshift is asking, what does the energy feel like when you sense someone astral projecting into your space?
That's a good question. You can answer that too.
You go first. They're asking you.
Okay. All right. So the couple times that I knew when somebody was astral traveling was I would see like a little starburst, like a little ding light, and then I would see it go off, and then I would just think of them. Another time someone, they always ask permission before they astrally travel into my home. This person asked permission. And when they came in, I heard like this loud commotion, which didn't make any sense. I didn't know where it came from. And one of my cats got really afraid and ran under the bed. And it was at that moment that she had entered. When we talked about it later, we figured out that that was that moment. So not only did I see it, but the cat saw it too.
Very cool. First time I asked.
So what about you, Dave?
First time
I want your answers.
Well, first time I astral projected, I actually told my friend of a friend of mine who was an astral traveler with me. I said to her to throw out the rotten bananas on her kitchen table, and she's like, "Hey, I'm making banana bread tomorrow. Do you mind?"
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Serious?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Wow,
that was pretty cool. But no, I think what you do is you pick up on the energy. It all of a sudden feels like you're not alone. And if you have been around, everything has a different energy feel. For instance, ghosts have energy that is very heavy and very, it's almost sullen. Extraterrestrials have a very high energy, almost like you're high. Okay, and you feel like like very energetic, that you need to figure something out, and you got to figure it out right now, like almost like you hit a speed, some speed or something like that. Cryptids are very, very cautious energy. It's very haunting type energy, not like ghosts, but there's a real realm of respect of being in the forest. So when you get people around who are astral projecting and or remote viewing, you pick up on the human energy that goes along with them. And then if you tune into that energy, you can do a lot of things. You can even pick out what they're wearing. It is very, very cool. And the best part is when you catch them and you call into them and say, hey, I see you, nice glasses, or really you go public with that hairdo? You say something along those lines, eventually they will leave you alone because their cover has been blown. It's
a wonderful way to astral travel is through meditation.
True.
And there was
I'm going to get you to hold. I'm going to get you to hold on right there. Okay, we'll finish that story when we come back because we only have another half hour with Sev Tok here on Spaced Out Radio. She's a MUFON investigator. We got a bunch of questions for you guys as well that we want to get to, and of course, coming up in hour 3, we have Swamp Dweller and World Bigfoot Radio coming on up, and the Magic 8 Ball as well. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. That'll be our next question, so don't answer that right now. Let's go here. All right.
Well, you were right. It's going by very quickly.
I told you it would.
You told me it would.
All right. I told you it would fly by. That's just how it works around here.
You have a really good group of people, too, that listen to you. Very active.
They are.
Good questions. Yes.
Damien K, welcome. Goth White, good to have you back. Let's see, who else is here? Did anybody block their webcam, girls? Anybody block them trolls? Let's block them. Let's see. Oh, yeah, they've been blocked. Yeah, they've been blocked. Paradox Fossils, how are you? WF, welcome to our channel. And Ted Forquarian, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. And who else is here? Kason Lee from Sri Lanka, how are you? We'll try and get to all these questions when we come back. Hi, gorgeous D. Swagger. Oh, my God, I'm way behind. Hold on. Catching up. I'm only a minute behind now. There I am. I'm done. I told you this was going to be fun. It was going to be fun.
Yeah. I know. I knew it would be. That's why I was so excited.
Perfect. Good. We're glad that you're here. This has been awesome.
I'll marry you.
Watch Marry Me. Jennifer Lopez, Owen Wilson, Maluma, Marry Me. Directed by Kat Coiro. Rated PG-13. Streaming now only on Peacock. Sign up now. Visit peacocktv.com.
For me, so thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's been awesome for me.
Yes.
Are you going to be there on Saturday? Or no?
On Saturday at the conference?
The women, yeah.
The women's conference? I'm going to be there. I'm just not going to be on air. I want okay. Lynn has worked so hard on this. Okay, this is her moment to shine, and she deserves every compliment and everything that comes through this, because this has been her baby, and she has done an incredible job for women in ufology, and I want her to have that moment because she deserves it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
and whoever designed the promo did a fantastic job.
That was Vin Man.
That was very good. Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I'm very impressed with that promo. It's very eye-catching. It's good.
It very is. He has quite the talent. Quite the talent. Mm-hmm. Very much so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot of brain power on that panel. A lot of brain power. Holy cow. I wish I knew an eighth of what that panel knows. Brilliant selections. So, it's going to be good. It's going to be real good. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, lots of people talking about astral traveling.
It's fun. Seriously.
Yes.
It's like I said, it's easy to tune into people when you figure out the energy around you.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Did you teach yourself? Did you do it by accident, or did you teach yourself?
Put it this way. I have no understanding of how I learned this, but I just know I know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's just the way it's played out. I've had some help with my guru friend Pascal. He helped me out quite a lot. And a young lady who is like a sister to me, her name is Samantha Mowat. An incredible lifetime experiencer. She's actually who I saw the alien in the forest with. So, yeah. And so, yeah, it works out quite a bit. But hold on 2 seconds, because we're going to come back here momentarily. Thank you to Chris, Dry Toast, John Wreakin Havoc, Super Ben, Allison, Grantavius, and Carla and Larry for the amazing super chats. Really do appreciate the love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Thank you to all the veterans who have tuned us in tonight. We really do appreciate you. Here we go, everyone. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Here we go. We continue on. Final half hour with Sev Tok tonight. PlanetSev.com is her website. She's an author, experiencer, researcher, and an investigator for MUFON. Sev, welcome back.
Hello.
All right. Question from Eddie here, who is asking, I had an encounter with a 4-foot owl, 2 hours missing time. Has Sev ever heard of a similar experience?
Yes, I have heard. You might know of Mike Cleland, who wrote, do you know the UFO Owl book that he wrote? So it is, and actually I just spoke with someone, a MUFON case that I have, and she saw a 4-foot tall white owl in the middle of the road. And then she had missing time too. And so why a 4-foot white owl? I don't know, but it's not uncommon, believe it or not.
Okay, let's move on. Grantavius is asking, have you ever experienced the shimmering people?
Okay. So I've experienced okay, I love this question. And I'd like to know, what do you mean by the shimmering people, Grantavius? I'll tell you, I've met 2 different types of shimmering people. One of them was like a star being. And I woke up in the middle of the night and he was standing by the bed. It was standing by the bed. It was looking at my boyfriend at the time. And I lifted my head up off the pillow to make sure I was awake. And I looked at it and it was the silhouette of a person, but it was like stars. And we looked at each other and then it disappeared. And then also the blue people that have talked to me about Tesla and Tchaikovsky and Disney, they're shimmery too. So I'm not quite sure. I did have a really interesting MUFON case about this star being that showed up holding a baby star being.
Wow. That's interesting. All
and
right.
It was right when the husband had a baby.
Far Flung is wondering, have you ever seen spirits of loved ones?
Yes. My father came to me after he passed away, a few days after he passed away. He came to me in my living room. And he also comes to me in the dream states, but they're not really dreams. And other loved ones too. Yes. Thank you for asking.
Ted would like to know, who are the blue-skinned humans? Some tried to grab me and pull me into a portal.
These are humans? I don't know blue-skinned humans.
Well, let's try
I don't know. And is this a portal that you encountered while you were meditating, or is this a portal you encountered while you were walking around? I'd like to know more. I don't want to not answer the question or ignore it, but I don't know the blue-skinned humans.
Okay, well, we'll try and come back to that. We'll try and come back to that one. All right.
Thank you, Ted.
In Sri Lanka, Kason is asking, have any ETs ever expressed any predictions on Earth's future?
Yes, contactees talk about this a lot. And I've also received these messages that we are on the path of annihilating ourselves, but it's not too late. I've been told it's not too late. Others have been told it's not too late, but we're headed in that direction. And that's really one of the main reasons for this ET contact, is to divert ourselves from killing ourselves off.
Okay. And let's see what other questions we have from our audience here. As I scroll on down our chat room, trying to see if I'm missing any while we're waiting for more questions here. Oh, let's get to Shelley's here. Let's get to this. Do you have flashes, like ETs or UFOs flash at you?
Yes. And that's very funny that you should bring that up. Thank you, Shelley, because in this new video I made for my YouTube channel, the top 10 signs of ET contact, number 2 was the flashes. Excuse me, not number 2, but one of them was the flashes, the orbs. A lot of contactees see flashing orbs, whether they're inside of the house or outside of the house. And there's a lot of theories as to what these orbs are. They could be ETs, they could be spaceships. I saw an orange, after an interview one night, I went outside to get some air, and there was an orange orb there. And I talked with an experiencer who saw an orange orb turn into a spaceship. So maybe these orbs are angels, as some people think they are. Maybe they're spaceships. Maybe they're just another form of a being. We really don't know what these orbs are. But yes, I see them. I see them in the house. I see them outside of the house. And I wonder if you see them too, Shelley.
All right, we can find out. Let's see what she says. Lavira would like to know, how is astral traveling different than remote viewing and out-of-body experiences?
It's all the same thing. It's just different words.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that one for sure. You know, call it what you will. It's all the same. You still get to see all the other stuff that you want to see. Getting back to your time in MUFON here, you are part of a team, a rapid response type team that helps deal with cases of really close encounters with ET contact. How does that work?
The ERT, the Experiencer Resource Team. So somebody goes to the MUFON site and they fill out a report. And then someone looks at the report and then they determine who on the ERT team is going to get it. Because if it's a witness talking about direct ET contact, then it is sent to the ERT team, and then the Dr. George Medich, who's in charge, then determines which one of us gets it. And it's usually according to region, but not always, because we don't have ERT members in every state. And then read through the case, whether it's a field investigative case or an ERT case. You read through the case, and then you contact the witness and ask questions, and you just engage and you open a dialogue. Now, sometimes with the ERT people, sometimes I talk with ERT people for years. They can go on and on and on for years. And this is all volunteer work that we do through MUFON. And it's very important work. For me, I really like engaging the experiencers. And like I said before, I think it's really important that you come out to somebody. It can be just to yourself, but at least come out. I don't hide it anymore. And if you want to come out to someone other than yourself, then you can always come out to someone in MUFON, or you can contact me personally directly. You don't have to go through MUFON, and you can come out to me.
Perfect. All right. Let's get to Kira's question here. Have you ever experienced a portal while awake? If so, what did it look like?
Yes. So there's portals all over the world, and I live in a portal here in North Carolina. Asheville is a portal here in North Carolina. And the house that I used to live in before this one was in a vortex, was in a portal. And so when I was sitting in that portal, the ground was just always moving. The ground was just always moving. That's how I knew I was in a portal. It just wasn't just even. It was constantly moving. But that was only in one particular part of the house. That's how I experienced the portal.
Makes sense. I still want to see one. I really, really do. Kaysen is wondering, what's your opinion on the Pleiadians?
My opinion? My opinion is that they exist. I don't know what else to say.
Haven't had any dealings.
But I would like to make a comment. Excuse me?
You haven't had any dealings with them?
Not that I know of. There is also, I would just like to address something that there seems to be a need with a lot of people, and I don't know who asked the question about the Pleiadians. I'm sorry, I missed their name, but I'm not saying this about you specifically. But there are a lot of people who really want to know specifically who is this and where are they from and where do they live, and I used to be a Pleiadian, or I used to be whatever, and they really like to pigeonhole themselves. I ask you not to do that, because you're really from many, many, many different types of beings. You're not just a Pleiadian that might happen to be a starseed that comes to Earth. You're also many, many other types of beings too. So let's not try and select and identify with one particular type of being. Let's try and be more inclusive.
Makes sense, because the soul, being universal, would have had activity with every type of being, correct?
Yes.
All right. Let us move on to another question here. I'm trying to jam a bunch in because we only have about a dozen minutes left with you tonight. Nicola is asking, what is your thoughts about disclosure? Do you trust the government with their narrative?
Oh, that's a good one. Thank you. Nicola. We're in disclosure. We're in it now. And do I trust the government with the narrative? Absolutely not. No. Mm-mm. No.
See, I don't think we are in disclosure. I think we are in a confirmation that is happening, because it's easier to confirm than disclose. Because if you disclose, then you have to get into a lot of the deeper stories. Once the journalists actually catch on to this subject and realize that there is a long history behind the USS Nimitz encounter of 2004, they will be asking a lot of pertinent and tough questions if they catch on. Now I'm kind of giving away my speech for Colorado, but nonetheless, if you confirm, you don't have to deny anything about the history, because you just confirmed what is going on. It's only going to take a number of smart journalists to crack open that Pandora's box if they ever get the opportunity to do so. That's my belief.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we can differ. It's okay. Yeah. TMI is asking, are the aliens extraterrestrial or interdimensional?
Both. They're off this Earth, so they make it's extraterrestrial. And the ETs that we're coming in contact with are definitely interdimensional.
What do you prefer? Is there a difference?
Well, I guess it depends on your definition. For instance, an extraterrestrial can be interdimensional. So it's not really one or the other. Or an extraterrestrial can be very, I was going to say 3D, but it wouldn't be 3D. Maybe more solid. And maybe you wouldn't view that as interdimensional. But it can be both. So did that answer it?
I think so. I think that's good.
Okay,
let's get over to This Is My Story. Why has the church told so many people that aliens are evil and they are here to destroy humanity?
I don't know why the church has decided to say the things it says. I don't know.
It is
We have theories. We have theories, control theories, all based on control. Right. But I don't know why the church has declared what it has declared.
All right, let's get to another one from Gloria here. Have you ever received any intel from the extraterrestrials in your contact?
Yeah, there's lots of information. Are you talking about specifically like military or government intel, or just intelligence in general?
Give us an example of both. We have some time.
Oh, okay. Well, the blue beings gave me a lot of information about DNA activation, how we activate our DNA and why we would want to, and how activating DNA helps you to align with your purpose. And there was a lot of information along those lines. I was given a lot of information about the hybridization program. And then in my lab, I was shown, as I had described, that poster of that spaceship. And there were lots of scientific and formulas and things on there. And I was having a discussion with this guy about the technicalities of how a spaceship flies. So I have been given some information. Some of it I remember, some of it I don't. All contactees get information.
Are you allowed, with being with MUFON, to tell everything that you guys see? Or is there information you need to hold back on for the sake of the report?
Oh no, we're very transparent as far as the information that comes in. We don't share names and addresses and things like that, but I have never been told to keep anything hush hush, any kind of experience hush hush.
Very true. Okay, thank you for that. Kaysen is wondering, have you ever witnessed any humans working with ETs? Now, earlier you said you had, experience with MILABs or MILEBs, whatever people want to call them. Has it gone beyond that?
I think every time I've come across a human in an ET, it was in a MILAB experience. And so a lot of experiencers are actually having MILAB experiences.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like out of 10, how many out of 10 on average? 3?
Well,
2?
It depends on the experience. So out of 10 people that see some lights in the sky, no, none of those. Out of 10 people that actually made contact and went on a spaceship, just about all of those.
So if you're on a spaceship, it's more likely that you're going to have that human type of contact. Why is that?
You have information. And so my lab experiences, and there have been many of them, most of them have been them extracting information from me, them wanting me to do something, me giving them something, not the other way around.
And what would they be looking for? Like what kind of information?
So they're interested in the technological information we've received, in the spiritual information we've received, in the future predictions that we've been given, and in the hybridization program. So we're given a lot of information, and they want that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So is that for DNA purposes? Is that for knowledge purposes? I don't understand.
You don't understand why the government wants it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you would understand why they want the technological information.
From the ETs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So basically they're using you as a conduit to download the information that's been downloaded onto you.
Yes. It's a debriefing.
Gotcha.
We undergo a debriefing.
How do they know, though, that you were that one who...
That is a very good question. I don't know how they know. I will say, when I was talking about that astral men in black that came to visit me, that was really scary. I really wonder, was that government related? Does our government has been involved in a lot of secret psi programs, psychic warfare. And so we really don't know how much our government knows about consciousness. And it could very well be that our government knows how to send an astral men in black to somebody. Our government might know how to mess with other people's consciousnesses. I don't put it past them for knowing these kind of things.
All right, we've got 4 minutes left, about 3.5 minutes left. Let's get to another couple questions. Grantavius is wondering, how can we get a ticket to go on one of their craft?
Well, you can go on one of their craft. I would suggest you meditate. I suggest you create contact. And also, once again, be very careful about the vibe that you're exuding. And so I encourage everyone to make contact. I do. But you have to be careful.
Yeah, you definitely have to put out the intention that you want positivity and not negativity. Because if you just put that...
Yeah, and some people thrive on the negativity, though. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Really?
Like some people say, oh, there's this really ugly entity in my home and I don't want it there. But deep down inside, they do want it there. So if you really don't want something there, you have to not want it with every cell in your body or it's going to hang around.
All right. Steve is wondering, have you ever been to underground installations?
Yes, a few of my labs were underground in offices. If you're talking about like in caves and things, I do not have a recollection of being in any caves. Some of the people who've contacted me, though, however, have recollections of being under the ground in caves.
One final question. We got 2 minutes. Evan wants to know, I've heard that if you see a UFO, then they are showing themselves to you, and you are an abductee, but just don't remember. Is this true?
Very possible. Very, very possible. Maybe you're not an abductee, but maybe you do have some kind of history with that civilization. There's a variety of possibilities. I will say that it's not a fluke and it's not an accident that a UFO showed itself to you. So pay attention. Why did you see that? It's for your benefit.
All right. Sev, we've got 90 seconds left with you tonight. And I want to say a giant warm thank you and how much I'm looking forward to meeting you personally at the MUFON Symposium July 8th through 10th in Denver, Colorado. I cannot wait to be there. And please tell our audience where they can find your information.
Okay, thank you. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you very much. And thank you everyone for watching and participating. It makes me very happy. You can email me at sev@planetsev.com. My website is planetsev.com. I have a YouTube channel, Alien Spirit TV. I'm also on Facebook and on Instagram. And I'm also a spiritual counselor. I do soul purpose sessions and soul sessions if you like more information on that. And those are the best ways to get a hold of me. And if you've had ET contact, I'd love to know about it.
Wonderful. Sev, what a pleasure for me to actually get the opportunity to speak with you. And I do want to remind people that Sev will be talking at Women in Ufology this Saturday on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel. It is literally 6 hours long of great information all over our channel for anybody to take in for free. So make sure you check that on out. She is part of a great panel of brilliant women, led by Lynn Wallington, our weekend host of Spaced Out Weekends. Sev Tok, everybody. Coming up next, we're going to head to the swamp. Swamp Dweller's going to bring us another spooky story. Then Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio, who likes a good root beer every now and again. We'll talk some Sasquatch next. Great show.
Oh my God, I loved it. Thank you. You're so good. You're very, very, very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you make it fun. You're you're a professional. And
I try.
You can tell you're really
I try. I have a face for radio. It's very obvious. But that's okay. That's okay. I've learned to live with it, and we got to bring you back soon. We have to.
Oh, thank you. I would love to.
Yes. Yeah, and then when we're in Colorado, I will once festivities have kind of died down, I will sit there and I will tell you all my weird stories.
I look forward to that.
I'm a weirdo. Just not gonna lie. Well, I am a weirdo.
Probably why I like you so much.
Nice. I will let you go get some sleep. I know it's 2 a.m. where you are, but thank you so much for being awesome.
Oh, thank you, Dave Scott. I loved it. I'm so glad we connected.
Me too. Enjoy. And don't let the aliens bite in. Tell the remote viewers to piss off. You're going to bed.
All right.
Take care. Bye-bye. Sev Tok, everybody. How awesome is she? Let's just be honest there. You know? Here's another one, looking just as good tonight. There's Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. That man has a cape underneath that jacket right there. Trust me.
Right now I got my phaser on. Beam me up, Mr. Scott. Ready to board the Woo train.
Yeah. I know you are, you dirty bastard. That's why I love you.
So, yeah, I've been having fun today. We went back to super winter conditions, 20 below wind chill right now. I'm outside trying to have a cigarette, and the cherry keeps freezing. Mm-hmm. Can't get a drag off it.
I know the feeling.
No, just an average day here, giving myself PTSD, and had a viewer contact me, and they're having issues with a sighting they had back in the 80s where him and his two brothers got chased out of a Civil War graveyard where they probably shouldn't have been partying at night by what he claims are little goblinoids about 3 feet tall, shark-like teeth. They're all wearing red hooded cloaks and had daggers that looked like they were made out of bone.
Oh, nice.
Well, if that was chasing me out of a graveyard, I'd be leaving in a hurry, too.
I'm out. It's that simple.
Yep. I'm gone.
It really is that simple. And, you get chased.
They don't give off manifestations of friendly when they're dressed like that.
No. No, Super Duke. They're just certain things that don't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Lordy Lord. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I'm working on a compilation of all the high points of all the summer research videos we did last summer, and I'm going through there and pulling out all the different timestamps that I want to take a closer look at and whatnot. And right in the middle of doing it, one of my friends called me, so I've got it frozen on the screen in the video, and I'm talking to him for about 20 minutes. And right about the time he's getting ready to hang up, I'm looking at this picture, and I'm like, what the hell is that? So I get done with him, and I look closer, and I'm like, that looks like a face. Is that one right there that we missed? So I start clicking through frame by frame.
Jesus.
And about 4 or 5 seconds later, panning to the left, I zoom in just on this object that looks like black. What's that? I do this all the time. And I'd never noticed it before. Now I'm looking at it at slow speed. There's a pine tree. There's a tree laying in front of it. And right next to the tree and, behind the fallen tree, there's one looking at me, and you could see the glint of the sun out both of his eyes. This is like not pareidolia, really obvious what it is. And I'm like, oh, great. I'm going to have PTSD for another few days. It's a lot easier when you notice them when you're there than when you notice them after the fact. Oh, that one was 30 feet away watching me. Great.
Damn it, man. You got to be careful with them. Them Sasquatches, they just hide.
I got no hope whatsoever. They're just such masters at sneaking. They can just get right next to me, and I don't even know they're there. They're probably trying to count coup on me. It's a good thing they put up with me. That's all I can say.
I hear you.
For whatever reason.
I hear you, brother.
I must be entertaining. I think that's why they put up with me. They get mad if I go to bed too early. They want us to sit up till 2 a.m. telling stupid stories and Bigfoot stories and jokes, which apparently they find highly entertaining. We try and go to bed before 2 o'clock in the morning. They throw crap at the tent until we get up again.
Oh, man. Oh. Gorgeous Carol Indy, how are you? You're late, but that's okay. We still love you. Boom! Gorgeous Bama, how's it going? I like saying
Bama.
Boom to Bama.
Bama. Bama has some of the most amazing pictures of Bigfoot ever. She is amazing at getting pictures of them. What do we got from Swampy tonight?
We're going to look into some cryptids. A couple of short stories.
I got the Ruby Creek incident tonight, as told by a super cryptid expert who wrote the book Abominable Snowman, Legend Come to Life. There it is right there. Ivan T. Sanderson.
Very nice. Yep. I will never forget the first time, Duke, I ever saw the sign for Ruby Creek. And it tripped me out. I want to say a big thank you to Chris, Dry Toast, Rican John, Ben, Allison, Grant, Carla, Larry, Cat Chaser, Kira, and Steve for the amazing super chats.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. I appreciate you being here and tuning us on in. Thank you for everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Yarborough. Yarborough is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. And it is time, once again, where we head over to the swamp to find out some spooky story from our resident storyteller, the Swamp Dweller.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp.
I encountered this creature when I was about 8 or 9 years old. This was around 12 years ago. My father, mother, siblings, and I were visiting my grandparents back in Somalia for my grandma's birthday. My dad did not want them flying to the States alone, and they couldn't afford to come to America, so we flew out to them. Besides, my parents were homesick, and my grandfather wanted my siblings and me to see his country since we had only seen it when we were very little. The only one who remembered the country was my oldest brother, who was 16 at the time. My grandma lived in a small house on the outskirts of Duro. There was not much to interest me and my siblings at my grandparents' house, so my brothers and I often played outside. In the more rural areas of Somalia, the locals tell stories of witches who rub themselves with magic sticks to become hyenas. My grandfather says that they can turn into other animals as well. The locals call them Huori Ismaris, which means one who rubs himself with a stick. All over the Horn of Africa, they tell these legends of people who can transform into hyenas, and I've never really believed in these stories until I encountered one myself. It was just becoming nightfall when my grandfather asked me to take out the trash while my grandmother made dinner. I was walking to the trash cans when I saw it. It was a hyena. Usually, hyenas did not roam close to cities, and when they did, they usually weren't alone. This hyena looked different than the spotted ones you would see in documentaries about Africa. This one was a striped hyena, and while they certainly did live in Africa, they were not very common in Somalia. Besides, this hyena was definitely not normal. It looked like it was sick, like it had a problem with its fur, like mange or something. It was missing patches of fur and had boils or pustules where the fur was missing. I stopped the moment I saw this thing, but I don't think it noticed me at first. I stood there for a few moments, in dead silence, just staring at this thing. When it did look at me, I got goosebumps all over my body. I had shivers going up and down my spine. It was an animal, but when it looked and turned at me, it had a human face, a smiling maw. It looked like it had the face of a human but mixed together with that of a striped hyena. Instead of front paws, it had clawed, human-like hands, and there was no fur. It stepped forward, laughing, but it did not sound like a hyena's laugh. It sounded like a woman. In fact, only spotted hyenas laugh, and this one was a striped hyena, so I knew it wasn't normal. I was still frozen, just staring into the glowing yellow-orange eyes of whatever this creature was. I must have been outside for quite a while, because the next thing I heard was my grandfather screaming for me. He was yelling prayers in Arabic as he ran my way. The hyena, or whatever it was, ran away as soon as it saw my grandfather coming towards me. It began to make that same creepy laughing sound as before. It moved very fast, and within mere seconds it disappeared into the desert. I asked my grandfather what it was, but he refused to answer me and told me to never tell my grandmother about what I saw. She was very superstitious about these things. If anyone else is from East African countries, let me know if you've ever seen something like this. I apologize if I do not describe this very well, as I am not much of a writer if I'm honest, but I'll try my best. We live in Florida in an area close to the water, and it has been raining frequently. These things may play an important part in me finding out what this thing could have been, but for now, I'll begin. I was at my sister's for the night. She lives in a camper on about 3 acres of cleared property with woods surrounding it, and a small paved road leading to the main road. Her property is about 2 miles away from the main road. I woke up sometime in the middle of the night, sometime around 11 or 12, I believe. I had to use the restroom, so I got off the couch and went to the restroom. I was dozing off just a little bit, as it was late at night, and I had a sip of beer that I mistakenly thought was my water. When I had finished, I stared into the mirror for a bit and collected my thoughts. After a few seconds, I heard something through the restroom window, which we always keep shut, when someone or something slammed up against the camper, causing it to shake violently. In fear, I ran to my sister's room where she and her boyfriend slept. This was childish of me to do, but honestly I was scared. I woke up my sister, but she refused to listen to me, so I went to her boyfriend instead. He listened and suggested we go outside because there would have to be some sort of mark. I wanted to wait until the morning, seeing as whatever it was that left that mark could still be out there. We went out using our phones as flashlights. Walking around the camper, we eventually found where the sound originated from. In that spot was a massive handprint. There was a slight indent as well, but it was hardly noticeable. I'm unsure of what this could have been. I don't know if there's any humanoid creatures in Florida. I know Florida is very stereotyped, but I just need to know what this is. We are going to be installing cameras soon. If anything else happens, I will keep you updated. Hopefully, someone will know what could have done this.
Oh, there's always spooky creatures lurking around the swamp. Thank you to Mr. Swamp Dweller for another exciting episode of The Swamp here on Spaced Out Radio. You can find his YouTube channel and subscribe to it. 254,000 subscribers already. Keeps going up like 1,000 a month right now. I wish I had that, Duke. I so wish I had that. I really
Yeah, it'd be nice.
All right. Well, so make sure you go to YouTube. Subscribe to The Swamp Dweller at youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads. And you heard Super Duke there momentarily ago, and we're going to get into the good old-fashioned cryptid report. All right, we bring back Duke Sullivan, a.k.a. Super Duke, from World Bigfoot Radio on YouTube. You can go hit subscribe on his channel as well as we bring in the Cryptid Report. And, Duke, you have one from close by me at my former home right here in British Columbia. And this is another legend that I absolutely love, my friend. You're just teasing me with Ruby Creek here.
Well, let's just say I know that some of the better reports that have ever been filed happen to be somewhere near where you live, mysteriously enough. You're in one of those Bigfoot Central type places. So, yeah, it comes up. You know, the last time I was on, I did the one that was 40 miles from me. Now it's back to close to where Dave is again. What's going on with that? All the best reports are where we live, Dave.
I don't know, but I'm willing to take it.
Yeah, well, it makes for a good place to go research nearby where you're at, right? Anyway, a lot of people think the whole modern Bigfoot thing started in 1958 with Jerry Crew, and actually, this report was from 1941, and John Green was the first one that looked into it. But then later on, Ivan Sanderson, one of the fathers of cryptozoology, wrote up the Chapman story, which appeared in True magazine in 1960. This is the somewhat edited for length version of the Sandersons' retelling of the story. Quote, "The modern history of the Sasquatch really dates from September 1941, when one of these creatures paid a visit, in broad daylight, to a native family named Chapman. Well, the stories have usually been dismissed as legend or laughed off because the natives are not supposed to be reliable. Too much physical evidence to be ignored accompany this experience. The Chapman family consisted of George and Jeannie Chapman and children numbering, at my visit, 4. Mr. Chapman worked on the railroad and was living at the time in a small place called Ruby Creek, 30 miles up the Fraser River from Agassiz, British Columbia, in Canada's Great Western Province. It was about 3 in the afternoon of a sunny, cloudless day when Jeannie Chapman's eldest son, then aged 9, came running to the house saying that there was a cow coming down out of the woods at the foot of the nearby mountain. The other kids, a boy aged 7 and a little girl of 5, were still playing in a field behind the house, bordering on the rail track. Mrs. Chapman went out to look, since the boys seemed oddly disturbed, and they saw what at first she thought was a very big bear moving about among the bushes bordering the field beyond the railway tracks. She called the 2 children, who came running immediately. Then the creature moved onto the tracks, and she saw to her horror that it was a gigantic man covered with hair, not fur. The hair seemed to be about 4 inches long all over and of a pale yellow-brown color. To pin down this color, Mrs. Chapman pointed to me a sheet of lightly varnished plywood in the room where we were sitting. This was of a brown ochre color. This creature advanced directly toward the house, and Mrs. Chapman had, as she put it, much too much time to look at it, because she stood her ground outside while the eldest boy, on her instructions, got a blanket from the house and rounded up the other children. The kids were in near panic, she told us, and it took 2 or 3 minutes to get the blanket, during which time the creature had reached the near corner of the field, only about 100 feet away from her. Mrs. Chapman then spread the blanket and, holding it aloft so the kids could not see the creature or it them, she backed off on the double to the old field and down onto the river beach out of sight, and then ran to the kids downstream to the village. According to this, he then asked her a leading question about the blanket. Had her purpose in using it been to prevent her kids from seeing the creature, in accord with the old native legend that seeing one of these things can often bring bad luck and or death? Her reply was both prompt and surprising. She said that although she had heard white men tell of that belief, she had not heard it from her parents or any other of her people, whose advice regarding the so-called Sasquatch had been simply not to go further than certain points up certain valleys, to run if she saw one, but not to struggle if one caught her, as it might squeeze her to death by accident. No, she said, I used the blanket because I thought it was after one of the kids, and so might go into the house to look for them instead of following me. Now, this seems to have been sound logic, as the creature did go into the house and also rummaged around through an old outhouse pretty thoroughly, hauling from it a 55-gallon barrel of salt fish, breaking this open and scattering its contents about outside. Sadly, the irony of it is that all 3 of the children did die within 3 years, the 2 boys by drowning and the little girl on a sickbed. And just after he interviewed the Chapmans, they also drowned in the Fraser River when a rowboat capsized. So getting on to the story, Mrs. Chapman told him that the creature was about 7.5 feet tall. She could estimate its height by the various fence and line posts standing above the field. It had a rather small head and a very short, thick neck. In fact, really no neck at all. A point that was emphasized by William Rowe and by all the others who claimed to have seen one of these creatures. Its body was entirely human in shape, except that it was immensely thick through its chest, and its arms were exceptionally long. She did not see the feet, which were in the grass. Its shoulders were very wide, and it had no breasts, from which Miss Chapman assumed it was a male, although she did not see any male genitalia due to the long hair covering its groin area. She was most definite on this point. The naked parts of its face and its hands were much darker than its hair, and appeared to be almost black. George Chapman returned home from his work on the railroad that day shortly before 6 in the evening, and by a route that bypassed the village, so that he saw no one to tell him what had happened. When he reached his house, he immediately saw the woodshed door battered in, spotted enormous humanoid footprints all over the place. Greatly alarmed, for he, like all of his people, had heard since childhood about the, quote, big wild man of the mountains, unquote, though he did not hear the word Sasquatch till after this incident, he called for his family and then dashed through the house. Then he spotted the foot tracks of his wife and kids going off toward the river. He followed these up until he picked them up on the sand of the river and saw them going downstream without any giant ones following. Somewhat relieved, he was retracing his steps when he stumbled across the giant's foot tracks on the riverbank further upstream. These had come down out of the potato patch which lay between the house and the river, had milled about by the river, and then gone back through the old field toward the foot of the mountains, where they disappeared in the heavy growth. Returning to the house relieved to know that the tracks of all 4 of his family had gone up downstream to the village, George Chapman went to examine the woodshed. In the interview after 18 years, he still expressed the voluble astonishment that any living thing, even a 7-foot 6-inch man with a barrel chest, could lift a 55-gallon tub of fish and break it open without using a tool. He confirmed the creature's height after finding a number of long brown hairs stuck in the slabwood lintel of the doorway above the level of his head. Then George Chapman went out to the village to look for his family and found them in a state of calm collapse. He gathered them up and invited his father-in-law and 2 others to return with him for protection of his family when he was away at work. The foot tracks returned every night for a week, and on 2 occasions the dogs that the Chapmans had taken with them set up the most awful racket at exactly 2 o'clock in the morning. The Sasquatch did not, however, molest them or apparently touch either the house or the woodshed, but the whole business was too unnerving, and the family finally moved out. They never went back. After a long chat about this and other matters, Mrs. Chapman suddenly told us something very significant just as we were leaving. She said, "It made an awful funny noise." I asked her if she could imitate this noise for me, but it was her husband who did so, saying he had heard it at night twice during the week after the incident. He then proceeded to utter this strange gurgling whistle that the men in California who said they had heard a Bigfoot call had given us. This is a sound I cannot reproduce in print, but I can assure you that it is unlike anything I have ever heard given by man or beast anywhere in the world. And to me, this information is of great significance, that this couple in British Columbia should give out with exactly the same strange sound in connection with the Sasquatch that 2 highly educated men did over 600 miles south in connection with the California Bigfoot is incredible. If this is all hoax or a publicity stunt or mass hallucination, as some people have claimed, how did it happen that this noise, which defies description, always sounds the same no matter who tries to reproduce it for me? This is probably the last time the Chapmans ever talked about the incident. Before 1958, Sasquatch was merely a regional monster, a hairy forest tribe of the Indians. And, of course, that's when the Jerry Crew incident happened, and it became a known thing and was given the name Bigfoot. So there you go, the Ruby Creek incident in 1941.
Well, I can tell you, Duke, that I know that area very well. Very, very well. And it is eerie along there. Not just because of the history of Ruby Creek, but with the power of the Fraser River right there, you're literally on the cusp of entering the Canyon Mountains to get across British Columbia, and where the water is very violent as it goes into the rocks. You're right by Yale, where Jacko, the baby Sasquatch, was found, within about 40 miles. Okay? It's just eerie. I've even geocached right in that Ruby Creek area where the railroad tracks run. And, dude, you literally feel that there are things watching you around there. It is
Go ahead. Could well be. I mean, that's what the areas I go to where they're around. You get that same feeling. If they're around there, it's creepy. They're watching you the whole time you're there. You can tell.
Oh, totally. Totally. It's just, I don't want to say you don't feel safe, because it's not an unsafe feeling. It's just a weird feeling being in that area. And Ruby Creek is a long stretch of that highway. The First Nations reservation there is very large. It backs right into the mountains. It's all nature. There's no, big stores or anything. You're in between communities, between Agassiz and Hope, and you've got this giant mountain range right behind you. I mean, it is unbelievably eerie. Unbelievably eerie.
That comes up a lot in the reports that I get. I mean, you get the random ones and stuff, but the ones where they have, like, major stuff happening and stuff happening over and over and over again. You find out their location. They're like, well, I know my backyard backs up to 1.5 million acres of forest or something like that. It's like, well, gee, I wonder why they're hanging around there. You've got this ginormous forest right behind your property, you know. So, yeah, you know, I mean, any of these giant wilderness areas, they're running around there. If there's a food source, there's water, and there's cover, they're running around in there. I'm convinced of it. It's not that hard to find them. They got big wilderness area with lots of food and water available. It's very likely that they're there.
Well, you know what? It is something, Duke, that it is still a hotbed area. It really is. That Ruby Creek area, which leads into Seabird Island, which leads into Agassiz and Harrison Hot Springs, and that entire area. Well, everybody knows that Harrison Hot Springs and the Chehalis are very, very hotbeds, big hotbeds in British Columbia for Sasquatch encounters with all of the fish and everything. I got to tell you a story one time. We used to fish this lake in between Harrison Hot Springs and Agassiz. It was way up on this mountain called Mount Woodside, and there was this tiny little hidden lake, Duke, that if you were driving along the logging road, you would miss it 10 times out of 10 if you didn't see the path there. No power boats allowed. We'd have to go in on, and, you know, some people fished in canoes, some people fished offshore. We went in belly boats. And one time when I wasn't there, my friends got roared at. Roared at. And I said, I'm not going up there. I would be Sasquatch food. But now I would. I totally would. But this was right in between. We're talking roared. And like they were in the middle of the lake and they were freaked out when this happened. But 20 seconds left. I know Duke's going to usually stick around. Maybe he will, maybe he won't, for the Magic 8 Ball. We're going to start warming it up here. Get your questions in capital letters if you're in one of our chat rooms. Maybe the 8 Ball is going to be fired up tonight after we cleansed it last week from the sins of the devil that were attached to the Magic 8 Ball. We're going to get to it. Duke, you sticking around?
Yeah, I have to. After the last time when we had to exercise the Magic 8 Ball, I better make sure it still works.
I know. We had to exercise it. Magic 8 Ball and Shirky Poo's News coming up next on the Mighty SOR with me and Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. Oh, man.
I don't know if you went back and listened to that after we did that, but I had 3 different friends call me the next day laughing their asses off, saying that is one of the funniest things they had ever heard. The exorcism of the Magic 8 Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do what you got to do. Sometimes the 8 Ball's getting a little bit possessed, and you got to exercise it.
I hear you. Look, hey, Magic 8 Ball starts acting up. I mean, I'm not going to talk ill of it right now because it is in my hand, and I don't need to be, you know.
You got your sage ready just in case.
I better, son of a gun.
Better prime up just in case.
Hold on a second here. Let's put a little bit of this badass juice in the burner here. Oh, God, I accidentally put too much in there. There we go.
Hopefully we won't need it, but just in case, as a precaution.
Just in case, you never know. You never know when Satan's minions decide to take over the Magic 8 Ball. Holy cow. What is with all of, I swear to God, what is with all these webcam things tonight? We haven't been hit by them in a long time. Mm-hmm. All right, we'll start off with Grant Tavius tonight.
All right, let me run to the refill mug. Be right back.
Okay, we're going to start there with Grantavius. Aiden, how are you, man? Good to see you. Should we light it? I don't know. I don't know if I should do a test question or not. Thurston Howell III. How are you, man? Is Greg O'Brien's scowl real? Hold on. This is a test question. It is decidedly so. All right, Duke, I just did a oh, he's got to put his headphones on first. I just did a test question and it came out perfect. I don't think we got a smudge tonight.
Okay, excellent. Mm-hmm. We can get some straight answers out of it this time.
Straight answers. There ain't no pissing around with the answers tonight. It works.
No more obfuscation. Yeah, tell us the truth, damn it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Magic 8 Ball. We have full confidence in you tonight. Fap, why do you hate my hoodie so much? You have no idea how warm this hoodie is. Keeps me nice and calm and warm during the show. Cripes, Fapster.
Burr. Oh, what lovely. The temps dropped 3 more degrees.
All right, we got 18 seconds. Thank you to Steve, Kira, Cat Chaser, Larry, Carla, Grant, Chris, Dry Toast, Rican, John, Ben, and Allison for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much for the love, everybody. We're going to get going here right now. Magic 8 Ball time. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. We very much appreciate you tuning us in. Want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, as well as TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. It is time once again where we bring in the Magic 8 Ball for a little bit of Super Duke and the Magic 8 Ball. Here we go. Oh, yeah, the Magic 8 Ball is going to answer questions from people in our audience checking on, wanting to get a little psychic, a little intuitive, find out their zen, their chi, and their deepest, darkest questions that they have. We're going to be kicking it off right now with Grantavius, who is asking, are we going to get more UFO sightings and ET contact from other beings this year? Oh, let's start off strong here. The Magic 8 Ball says, Grant, it is decidedly so. We're going to get aliens this year. Maybe not on a full level, but you, my friend, are getting some aliens this year. And that's the way it's going to be. You got aliens, so you better go to our website and get yourself a You Got Aliens t-shirt, because it's going to work for you. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. What do you think there, Duke?
Absolutely. There's a 98% chance that it'll work. 76% of all people know that.
All right. That's good math right there, buddy. Very, very good math. Let's see here. The next question comes from Cat Chaser. Will our now people got to understand, on YouTube, a lot of people have fictional names like Thurston, who I call Thurston Howell III for obvious reasons. Cat Chaser's asking, will Thurston Howell III be rescued from Gilligan's Island? The answer is all systems go. Well, they do get rescued at the end.
Yes.
They do. I hate to break it to you, but they do get rescued at the end. So that means that's actually a true answer. We're 2 for 2 here, Duke.
Right on. It's doing great tonight.
All right. Let's go to Mennonite Abe. Always likes to put his religion in front of his name. I don't know why, but he does. All right. Is Dogman really real? Duke, I know you have a take on this one.
Yeah. I got one on video last summer. It looked pretty real to me.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Even though I haven't seen one. I don't want to see one. Mennonite Abe, the answer is ask again later. Ask again later. Why? Why do we need to ask that later? Maybe, Duke, it's because Mennonite Abe needs to see one, and then the Magic 8 Ball will say, is it really real? And then Mennonite Abe could say, hey, 8 Ball, ask again later.
There you go. It'll be turnabout as fair play on that Magic 8 Ball.
You got that right. Nicola wants to know, will this be the year I finally see or hear a cryptid in the Adirondacks this year? It's right down the middle. It's deciding. Ask again later. Uh-oh. Broken? Let's try this again. Nicola wants to know, Magic 8 Ball, will this be the year he finally sees or hears a cryptid in the Adirondacks? Battery's low. You've had a week to charge, you piece of poo.
Getting suspicious over here.
Well, you know what that means. I'm not taking any chances here.
See, this is why we got set up in advance, just in case.
Oh, yeah.
It's starting to be nebulous again.
Not to be, you know what? We are being proactive, and we are being very, very responsible woo people right now, because for our radio audience, I've lit Sage now in the studio here. And we are going to have to remove any type of bad answers or negativity from the Magic 8 Ball, because it's obviously not cooperating with us here. Right there. So we're cleansing it off, cleansing the negativity, and for clear, concise answers, this is what we need. Right like that. I got some good woo smoke going on here, too. Cleansing the 8 Ball. Oh, yeah, let's get that.
And, we may have gotten rid of most of it last time, and there's just some residual ick left that we have to expunge properly.
All right. Well, I think I'm pretty cleansed here, man. I'm just going to cleanse me a little bit here. Well, okay.
Damn finicky Magic 8 Ball anyway.
You can't trust, hey, man. I ain't taking no chances. This is Magic 8 Ball time. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Let's re-ask this question here. From Nicola, will this be the year that he finally sees or hears a cryptid in the Adirondacks? The answer is yes and beyond. Ooh. Yes and beyond. All right.
Well, there's no shortage of cryptids in the Adirondacks. If you go look in the right place, you're probably going to find one.
That's right. Let's go back to Mennonite Abe. See if we get a different answer for him. Is Dogman really real? The answer is you may rely on it. Now we're getting some good rotation here. Now we're getting some good
giving honest answers again.
Absolutely.
Got it fixed.
Okay, Fap is asking, does Dave own any other sweatshirt? For our radio audience, Fap is in my chat room. He's my biggest critic. He is literally the two old dudes who sit up in the Muppet gondola there, complaining about everything. If you remember the early 90s or the late 80s movie Dick Tracy with Flat Top, that's about what Fap's head looks like. Right? Could land a helicopter on that thing. Anyways, at least 4 drones. At least 4 drones. Big-sized drones, too. Anyways, he's asking, he's ragging on me about my hoodie. I have a nice blue hoodie on that's very comfortable. It's very Mr. Rogers-esque. All right? It does the job. It keeps me warm, comfortable. And he's asking, does Dave own any other sweatshirts? Battery's low, Fap, because even the Magic 8-Ball doesn't want to deal with that question. Now we're bang on.
It's not worth the Magic 8-Ball's energy to answer that question.
No. All right, let's go to Lynn. Magic 8-Ball, do you believe there are ghosts out there? The answer is yes and beyond. And beyond, Duke. That is very nice. Very
Ghost
nice.
entities and a whole host of specters, wraiths, and other weird stuff.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Let's go over to Cat Chaser, who is asking. Hold on. We'll give a little bit of woo smoke on that to clean this up a little bit. All right. Cat Chaser is asking, will SOR go another 7 years? Signs point to yes. Wonderful. This show is going to kill me. It's going to kill me, but that's okay. I love it. I love it.
Dying on air while broadcasting.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm signing off for the final time.
That's right. Hey, Chuck and Ryan and Jody and Len, do me a favor. When the show continues, or when I die, just play reruns, if you don't mind, just for a couple of weeks. Play some reruns. Will I go another 7 years? Yes. Yes. By the way, the Magic 8-Ball followed it up by saying, Dave, you have my pity. Thank you.
Well, it's mighty specific for the Magic 8-Ball, Dave.
Yes. Somehow, Siegel says Dave is missing 11 toes. Fun fact. I don't think so. I count my digits every day, man. Dave, does the Canada BS threaten our SOR Vegas party? Hell no. No. No, we are going to Vegas April 22nd to 24th for our Vegas fan party. Every fan out there is allowed to come join us and hang on out at the Golden Nugget and hang out with me, a bunch of our former guests, and fans alike, and I am going. I will dig a tunnel in order to get across the border, or I will use one of the U.S. Air Force's hot air balloons to steer myself over to Nevada, because I'm going to get into some woo in Vegas, man. Woo in Vegas. All right. Joe is wondering, will Dave eat a taco this week? The answer is not today, Sheriff. No, today I actually had soup, cream of mushroom soup with garlic bread. That was my dinner tonight. That was my dinner.
That sounds good, actually.
It actually was. I'm not going to lie. All right. Cat Chaser, will Bama Bigfoot come face-to-face with a Bigfoot?
That happens about every other week.
Out of fuel. Try again later. Hold on. We got to get more of that woo juice.
We're not accepting nebulosity for answers anymore, 8-Ball. You're on the spot all the time now.
That's right. Okay. It still says ask again later. But you know what? Honestly, usually around this time, which is normal, the 8-Ball starts to wind down from its energy. So we're going to try. Magic 8-Ball, can we get at least a couple more questions out of you? And the answer is, as I see it, yes. Okay, so will Bama come face-to-face with a Bigfoot this year? And the answer, Duke, is my sources say no. But that's legitimate.
That'll be a first.
That's legitimate, though. It's a legitimate answer, though.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Let's see here. Cat Chaser wants to know, will I ever find my soulmate? Cat Chaser, the answer is all clear. You're ready. You're ready. All right. What you got to do is come to the Vegas party, Cat Chaser, because I can tell you, we'll make it easy for you. We'll make it easy for you. Bigfoot Michigan Rob is always looking. Handsome guy. You know, I think he works at a pawn shop during the day.
No, that's his ugly twin that works at the pawn shop.
God, it's amazing how him and Rick Harris look.
They do look alike, right?
Holy cow. I just want to hear Rob one day just say, hey, the best I can do is $2. That's it. That's all I want to see.
He had somebody that was half sauce try and convince him that he actually was Rick from Pawn Stars, and he was denying it, but this guy was really insistent that he was.
I want to be there when that happens, man.
I know. God, I wish he would have recorded that.
Right? Simon, otherwise known as Dogface Boy, is asking, when I win the $120 million in Australia on Thursday, can I buy Spaced Out Radio? Hold on, Magic 8-Ball says, my sources say no, but Dave says yes. Dave says...
Who's the Magic 8-Ball source?
I think the Magic 8-Ball source is saying, Simon, you may not win. Just saying.
It could be possible.
Just saying. All right. Let's see here. Shelley, question, do you have a small back patio, Mr. Scott? I do. It's on the second level. I'm in the basement here, but it's on the second level. It's actually right behind my studio here and up. So that's where it is. All right. Oh, let's see here. Grant Tavius, by the way, remember the You Got Aliens t-shirt I said? He goes, I need more contact. I promise I'll go right now and get the shirt, Dave. Good. Let's see. River Dogma is saying, Magic 8-Ball may need a colonic cleansing. Oh, my. I think we got time for one more. All right. Aiden is asking, will Lady Liberty move to another island? Levels are positive. She's going to make a move. The rent's too high where she is. You know, she's been there 200 plus years. You think she could get a discount on rent? No way. No way. The governor says, you're out, Lady Liberty. We're moving you over to New Jersey. And you got to find a new home there.
Hey, you love Jersey. Go on over there now.
Oh, thank you to Magic 8-Ball for actually making it through. You know what? I think we tuned it up last week, Duke. We tuned it up, but I don't think it's just running correctly. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's running correctly.
It's not on all cylinders still.
No.
It's like a little quirky. It's kind of running rough.
It's running like one of Cal Worthington's Yugos. Huh? How's that for old time right there?
Oh, God.
If you need a new car, go see Cal.
Yugo. Yeah, there hadn't been Yugos around for a while.
This is the beauty of living on the West Coast. Cal Worthington the commercial would always start off, hey, it's Cal Worthington and his dog Spot. But his dog Spot would be like a killer whale or a cow or a manatee or something different every commercial.
Dog.
Right?
Oh, Lord. Some of those West Coast commercials are really hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see the ones Renee DeHinden was doing for Kokanee beer?
I did.
Where he's like, I spent years out in the field trying to find Bigfoot, but when I can't, I just have a kokanee beer. And there's a Bigfoot in the background walking through the scene while he's doing the commercial.
Oh, yeah. Brewed in Creston, British Columbia. Oh, yeah. No, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. Hold on, Duke. I got a couple of stories I got to get to here, the news. All right, Shirky Poo's got the news for us. Duke, we got a scary story right here. Scary, scary story. Right off the bat. Like, honestly, this is grotesque. Probably shouldn't even read this one, but I'm the kind of guy who's going to. A former Louisiana teacher who fed cupcakes laced with her ex-husband's sperm to students has been sentenced to 41 years behind bars. I should hope so. Cynthia Perkins, who's just 36 and actually attractive, taught school in Livingston, used her husband's bodily fluid to season the baked goods. She accepted a plea deal in which she agreed to testify against her now ex-husband, Dennis, a former special operations lieutenant with the Livingston Parish Sheriff's Office, or lieutenant down there. She's not only waived any right to appeal and attempt to avoid conviction, but she also is spared the victims from reliving their horrific crimes during this particular trial. Conviction is in the best interest of our victims and justice, said Attorney General Jeff Landry. I gotta ask you, who does this? The twisted couple allegedly oh, this is gross. I'm not even going to read that line. Don't even want to go there. And, yeah, they were just weird perverts when it came to children, put it this way. All right? Weird perverts. I mean, this is a perfect scenario. You're supposed to tell kids you could trust your teacher or you could trust the police, and this poor town in Louisiana got screwed on both. It's terrible. Terrible.
She should have been sentenced to 41,000 years. What the F?
Yeah, who does that? Honestly, this is terrible. It's terrible. All right, moving on. Here's a cool one. A mom from Texas has praised the quick thinking of a Starbucks barista after they gave her daughter a drink with a message written on it to ask whether or not she felt safe with a man who was talking to her. The mom, whose name we're going to leave out of this story, shared on Facebook that her daughter, who is a high school-aged kid, went to Starbucks to get a drink. She didn't know the man, but he still approached her anyways. Apparently, she was just sitting down doing some schoolwork when the man came up to her, and staff at the shop were paying attention and intervened on the down low in order to check that she was doing okay and could cope with it all. In her Facebook post, the girl's mother wrote she was sitting at her table alone studying, and this man came by and noticed what she was studying and wanted to talk to her about it. He, I think, just kind of became really loud and animated about it. So after witnessing that, the baristas went off and came back to her with an extra hot chocolate that someone forgot to pick up, so that way she could read the message that said, "Are you okay? Do you want us to intervene? If you do, take the lid off the cup." Since it was shared, this post has been liked by more than 56,000 times. Who cares how many times it's been liked? The fact is, these Starbucks baristas, and I don't even talk coffee language, but these young people who work there deserve a real round of gratitude and extra tips for making sure something bad didn't happen to that young lady. That is fantastic. That is society right there, Duke, looking after society. You know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Yeah. All right, one more here for you. All right, you know the college life, we eat a lot of ramen noodles. Well, this is a strange case where a New England college student had to have both his legs amputated after eating leftovers of the desired college food. The 19-year-old man in question was admitted to the pediatric intensive care unit of Massachusetts General Hospital as a result of shock, multiple organ failure, and rash. Yeah, the YouTube channel Chubby Yimu, run by Dr. Bernard Su, a licensed toxicologist, posted a video of this case. Yeah, the 19-year-old man, identified as JC, started feeling abdominal pain and nausea after eating rice, chicken, and lo mein leftovers from a restaurant meal. He began vomiting, experiencing chills, generalized weakness, chest pain. Next thing he knew, his body shut down, temperature of 105 degrees. They had to cut his legs off due to meningitis from this bad meal. Terrible. Hey, we got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.